Okay, I'm going to try it one more time and redo this live. Apparently, there was a sound issue that I've had once before with OBS, but I didn't have it in StreamYard. But the problem with StreamYard, I don't get to do the forecast like this standing up because I can't put my stuff here on the green screen. It only just lets me use it as a background. I like this. StreamYard, I could do multiple platforms like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube all at the same time. This one I only get to do YouTube, but I can do it like TV. So if you are watching, is the sound okay? Please let me know in the chat if you stumbled here, because we're going to do this video over again. And please let me know if the sound is okay. We're hoping that the sound is okay. If anybody's watching, that's the only problem with OBS. I have to watch the video on YouTube, and I think maybe that could be causing a problem with it as well. I have YouTube up in my other monitor where I'm watching the live because I want to see what goes in the chat. So, I don't know if I'm having the same sound issues because I can't hear it. So, because it's condensed mic. So, I don't know if there's an interference. I don't know what's causing that issue. I don't know what was going on. It depends on the camera that I was using as well. That might also make a difference. Is the something with the camera? So I'm hoping it's acting right this time. How is the sound? If you're listening, please let me know what the sound is. Yeah. I don't know. Well, we're going to try it one more time, and then I'll play it back and watch it afterwards. And if the sound didn't work right, we'll do a forecast tomorrow night. We'll just do a whole new one tomorrow. So we're going to give this a shot. Welcome to Elite Weather. My name is Mr. G with your weather forecast coming in for your midweek. So for your Wednesday and Thursday and maybe into Friday, we're going to talk about. And here we are as we jump into our weather today. And I don't have it on this here is what I needed on. There we go. As we are on your weather today. And if the sound is not right, please let me know. People were telling me in the last video, but I'm standing so away from the monitor, I can't see what it says. So if the sound is right and there's no buzzing in the background or sound like the heavens is opening up, please let me know if the sound is. If I see something pop up in the chat, I'll pop over and look at it and see what it says. That way I'll know what's going on. So here we are with your weather today, and what we're going to be seeing out there is one more warm day or two across the upper Midwest and the northern half of the nation. We do have some rain occurring across Minnesota and Iowa down through portions of Nebraska and Kansas as we have a cold front moving through this region here and an associated area of low pressure as well. So we got some showers across this region, more showers and some embedded thunder across the northeast and the mid-Atlantic states as well, and a few spotty monsoon storms out on the west coast. And we're going to go through this pretty quick because I don't want this to be a long video. And also here we are with the satellite, the visible and infrared satellite. Here is our cold front here across the Midwest, our area of low pressure, and we have more clouds and some rain across the northeast and the mid-Atlantic states. And you also see our monsoonal moisture here across the four corner states. Here we are, so we take a look at your temperatures this evening, and we have the 70s across the Gulf Coast and the southern plains. So we're seeing those 70s and lower 80s across Texas and Oklahoma, and we're seeing those 60s in the portions of the southeast and those 70s down across Florida and the Gulf Coast, 50s in the northeast, and we're seeing 60s across the Great Lakes because we're under the influence of that incoming storm system, so it's still warm here across the Midwest and the upper Midwest, until that front passes, and then you're going to see those temperatures drop off dramatically, 20 to 30 degrees in some instances in our warm weather across the northern Rockies and the eastern side of the Cascade Mountain Range here, the valleys east of the Cascade. We're seeing it approach 80 degrees near Spokane, and we're seeing it warm across Southern California as well in the southwest. 91 in Phoenix, 81 in LA, and 68 in San Diego. So 68 cool degrees down there for you folks in San Diego. Here we are as we take a look at this evening's surface map. Here is our cold front moving across the Midwest, spread those rain showers and some isolated thunderstorms. Our beautiful weather across the West Coast. High pressure is in full control out west, and we do have a few monsoon storms down here across the Four Corners. Dry weather across the southeast. Our secondary front might spark a few showers down there across South Florida. So Miami and Fort Lauderdale could pick up a shower, as well as the Florida Keys. And here is our mid-Atlantic storm system that has some showers and some embedded thunderstorms across that region. And here we are as we take a look at the severe weather outlook. And I'm happy to report no severe weather is expected. A few thunderstorms expected tomorrow in the Midwest. And monsoon storms across the Four Corners. Some isolated flash flooding could be possible down across that region, but no watches are in place for tomorrow at this time. Same thing for your day on Thursday. Four Corners, monsoon thunderstorms, very isolated to scattered, and a few scattered and isolated storms across Michigan for your day on Thursday. And here we are as we take a look at our tropical update. Our tropics, we have 91L, this tropical wave out here just off the coast of South America here, and this guy has the potential to become a pretty strong hurricane, but I think it's going to stay down across the southern Caribbean and move towards Nicaragua and the Yucatan Peninsula as we move on through the next several days here. And here we are as we take a look at its forecasted tracks here, and these are the ensemble models that we got, different forecast models that's predicting pretty consistently the direction that this storm is going to take, and off basically to the west and hit Nicaragua right about there. And the GFS is pretty much in line, although some of its members have it going a little bit north, and that is what's causing concern to some meteorologists, is that they probably giving a little bit of credence to with the GFS, and they're waiting to see if the other models fall into line. So if it does so and take more of a northerly track, then it probably could take aim at the proper Yucatan Peninsula, or it could pass between the Cuba and the Yucatan like Hurricane Ian did and move into the Gulf of Mexico. But it's very few models that suggest in that possible scenario. So that is why they are paying attention to this tropical wave. It's a 91L, and if it becomes a hurricane, this is its expected strength, and it could at least become a major Category 3 hurricane. There is a model or two suggesting Category 4, so it would have to intensify very rapidly, and it's very close to the northern edge of South America, Venezuela and Colombia there. So it's very close to South America. So it could be interacting with the landmass. So that could affect further or how fast it develops. But if it stays out over those warm southern Caribbean waters, then we can see some pretty good intensification. But these things tend to wobble along their track, so we don't want it. We'll see it brush the coastlines as it moves off to the west, northwest slightly there. So that is a look at 91L in the tropics. Here is a big forecast. There is that high pressure all over the Atlantic. And here is our potential hurricane here. And this forecast has it moving into the Yucatan Peninsula before it gets shredded apart. And maybe some of its residual moisture will flow across Florida and into the Atlantic Ocean across central and southern Florida, is what this forecast for the GFS has progged for that storm system. And here we are as we talk about our forecast analysis. And one of the interesting things with this forecast is what you can see is that cold air that is going to drop down out of Canada here later in the month of October. So about mid-October, we're really going to see that cold air spread all the way down to the Gulf and even into Florida. We're going to be seeing below average temperatures, but we're going to be kind of up and down until then. So we see periods of warmer and then we're seeing cooler, but we're going to really see that colder air pop in. So we're going to see an initial shot of cooler air this week, and then a second next week, that second burst that's really going to open the door for that cool air to drop all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico and across the state of Texas. So we're going to be seeing cooler weather for everybody on the eastern half of the United States over the next week or so. And here we are as we take a look at our rainfall that we're going to be seeing here. We have these storms here. This is our current storm over the mid-Atlantic. This is our storm that's dropping down across the Great Lakes right now in the Midwest. That's going to move off to the northeast, spread some rain showers that way. So this is only going to affect the northern half of the nation, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and into the northeast. But we have this secondary system here that's going to form next week, and this guy is going to spread rain through the plains and into the northeast as well. So we're going to be some showers, and this is a storm that's really going to open up that door for that cold air to drop all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico and across Texas and even over to the Gulf Stream areas here across the southeast. And you see that strong northeasterly flow there. So we have a very strong storm in the northeast. That's very tight isobars. That's a lot of wind and cold air. So we're going to have possibly a nor'easter as we move into some time next week. So here we are as we take a look at our 500 millibar. This is our heights, our atmospheric thickness. This is the surface high, the upper level pressure, and this is where we're going to be seeing that troughing across the East Coast. So we have that troughing over the east that's going to initiate and usher in that colder and stormy weather. So we're going to have unsettled and cold weather across the eastern half of the nation, but dry and stable conditions across the western half of the nation, from the high plains to the northern Rockies to the Pacific Northwest, all the way down to Southern California and the desert Southwest. But if you're east of the high plains of if you're east of the front range of the Rockies to the west east coast, you're going to be dealing with periodic rounds of rain and maybe even some snow showers across portions of the high plains, as well as we go through time and these bouts of cold air. So that is a look at the forecast coming up for the week ahead. As we look at those surface analysis, here is our weather forecast for your day tomorrow. We will see those monsoon thunderstorms once again across the four corners. So Arizona and New Mexico primarily, even West Texas and North Texas can see a shower or thunderstorm. This is going to be isolated to widely scattered. Few snow showers is going to be possible through portions of Colorado. And we have our northern plains storm here across Minnesota and Wisconsin and the upper Midwest. So we're going to be dealing with some rain and scattered showers and storms in that region. No severe weather is expected. It's going to open the door for some colder air as that storm moves off to the northeast, and more showers and some thunderstorms here in the mid-Atlantic as well, from D.C. north toward the Boston area. So you're going to be seeing some showers along the coastal cities in the northeast on Wednesday. That's going to all move off for your day on Thursday, but it's going to warm up a little bit across the northeast as that front and low pressure center starts to move in. So you will see those 70s and a couple of 80s in the northeast and along the mid-Atlantic states and the southeast as well. So we're going to see things stay consistently warm here across south of this frontal boundary, but that colder air is going to start filtering in behind this front and really kick in behind this second front here. So we're going to be seeing a lot of cold air dropping down out of Canada, even cold enough to see a few snowflakes across portions of Nebraska on your day on Thursday. More monsoon storms across the Four Corners, few snowflakes in Colorado, but beautiful dry weather conditions across the West Coast, across the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, all the way down to LA and San Diego. Beautiful weather, but warm across the Southwest. In LA, we can see those temperatures in the 90s and maybe even approach 100 degrees as we see those Santa Ana winds start to blow. And let's take a look at those temperatures for your day on Wednesday. We have our warm weather down here, 100 across the Southwest as well. And here we are with our warmth across the southern plains down into Texas. All of these are going to be 80s, and we're going to be seeing 70s and 80s across the Gulf Coast down into the state of Florida. We're going to be seeing our 60s and 70s in the Northeast on your day on Wednesday, and we're going to see a little bit warmer inland as that storm from the Great Lakes start to work its way in your direction. But we're going to see one more day of temperatures in the 70s to near 80 here in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes on Wednesday. Thursday, things begin to change. That front drops down out of Canada, moves off to the east. But here we are with that cold air across Minnesota, the Dakotas, northern Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. That cold air is starting to move in, but it's going to stay warm here across the Gulf Coast. Temperatures in the 80s, maybe some lower 90s as well. And we're going to see that in place. And we're going to see a pretty warm 70s and 80s in the Northeast ahead of that front and that colder air. But it's not going to have any impact on the weather across the western half. If you're north of the northern Rockies here to the west coast, temperatures in the 70s, a few 80s there across the interior of Washington and Oregon, a couple of 80s there, but really hot down here across the Southwest, LA, San Diego, or the Inland Empire. Could see those temperatures in the 90s, even close to 100 there across the Southwest on your day on Thursday. On Friday, that cold air continues to move off to the east, so we really see that cold air. We have 50s here across the Northeast, the Great Lakes, and the upper Mississippi Valley or the upper Midwest down to the Mid-South. We're going to see those 60s and 70s down across this region here. So Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. The northern half of those states will see 70s. You will see those 80s on the southern half down to the Gulf Coast for one more day. You're going to enjoy that for about another 4 or 5 days before that second storm, that one is going to come later in the week or next week, going to come down and send the front all the way down to the Gulf Coast, where you might see 60s even along the Gulf Coast. So that is a look at the weather for Wednesday and Thursday, and that was for Friday as well. My name is Mr. G, and I hope the sound was better. If anybody watched this video, I'm going to test it afterwards, and if it didn't work, oh well, we'll try again tomorrow, and I'll use a different camera and different microphone to see if we don't have it, because it could be that mic in this camera. So the picture looks fine, but I don't know if the sound is bad. Nobody was in the chat today. So, all right, thanks for watching if you did watch, and I'll see you guys all either hopefully tomorrow night. If it didn't work today, we'll see you tomorrow, and then on Friday for the weekend forecast. All right. Oh, and also for your daily forecast, check me out on TikTok, where you can see my weather forecast every day. I didn't do one yesterday because sometimes the algorithm gets tired of you and it throttles you down. So I had to take a break and then come back a couple days later to see what happened. So anyway, that's the forecast. See you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye.